What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a talk about the next round of Marvel Champions things coming out. You see, ladies and gentlemen, we have a slight roadmap coming up. I did show you the other day, I showed you an updated release schedule, and essentially we're rolling through. Now remember, we've had a 2-month delay on everything, so we're rolling through to September with the Rise of the Red Skull expansion, the big expansion, bringing in lots of cool stuff. And we weren't told what was coming after that, but we were given a teaser image showing us what is coming after that. Now, one thing to remember very quickly here, these dates are out of date. After this image was shown to us, we were told about a 2-month delay. So, read it as scenario pack in October, and then hero packs in November, December, January, and February. Everything is basically coming 2 months late. Feel free to be upset about that, but as far as I'm concerned, that's the way we are. Now, I feel very good about 2 of these, pretty good about 2 of them, and one I'm kind of going by context. I've gone through the Facebook, I've had a read of suggestions over there. Thank you to everyone over there that's been given their ideas, but I feel kind of good about these. Now, in terms of the scenario pack, we're only getting 1 villain between the big campaign boxes. It looks a lot like Baron Zemo to me. It looks like it is Baron Zemo essentially kind of holding a glass or taunting with a hand or something. Now, bearing in mind, this would make perfect sense here because we've got a very much Avengers S.H.I.E.L.D. theme going on here. We've ended with Rise of the Red Skull, which is bringing in Red Skull. And I am expecting, we've not been told this explicitly, but I am very much expecting that what we're going to see is having essentially the end of the Avengers-y bit, moving in so that the next big campaign box can introduce the next era of Marvel Champions, as it were. Bearing in mind that that stage will have done a year's worth of releases, albeit in over a year of time because of delays, etc. But that seems sensible to me. Baron Zemo, of course, has been one of the iconic villains for the Avengers and Captain America specifically, so this kind of makes sense to me. Now, the other guess I've seen quite a lot for this, and I don't think this is going to be the case, is Kang the Conqueror. There have been a bunch of people suggesting that it will in fact be Kang the Conqueror. Personally, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not buying it because Kang's helmet is bigger. This looks like, and don't get me wrong, but the shape of the helmet fits. You do see the little protrusions on the top and the 2 sides. The shape of the helmet for Kang the Conqueror fits perfectly. And Kang is an Avengers villain. So, it could be. I think it's going to be Baron Zemo or Kang. I just think that this is far more... It seems more like Baron Zemo to me. The head seems a little bit small to be Kang. Not only that, but I just don't think Kang makes as much sense as Baron Zemo, given the releases we've had so far, bearing in mind the previous release will have been the Red Skull. Now, moving into heroes, I really do think we need to be thinking Avengers here. I think it makes perfect sense for them to essentially finish out the Avengers, so I'm going by both the silhouettes and I'm going by the fact that we are expecting Avengers here. Don't be expecting things like the X-Men or the Fantastic Four. We'll get to them in a moment. Now, the ones I feel really good about are November and December. I feel extremely confident that these are going to be Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch. Now, in terms of Quicksilver, very easily, it's the hair. The hair is what gives it away to me. It really, really does look like we've got Quicksilver rolling on here. Plus, Quicksilver has been one of the Avengers, which kind of makes perfect sense to me. But Quicksilver isn't one of the real key Avengers. Quicksilver is one of I'd call it the B team, so to speak. So, as far as I'm concerned, it makes perfect sense that they would bring in Quicksilver here as essentially an end to the Avengers run in Marvel Champions. Quick reminder here, and shout out to this image from geek.com, that we do actually have two different Quicksilvers that we've seen in movies. We've got the one that's actually from the MCU, and then we've got the one from the X-Men films. We've all got a favourite. And of course, we would expect to be getting Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch as a pair. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are very much, well, they're twins. They are actual proper job twins. So it would make perfect sense to be introducing them essentially at the same time. I mean, they need their separate hero packs, they have to be a month apart, but it makes perfect sense to me that they would go Quicksilver in November and Scarlet Witch in December. I feel very, very good about this prediction. Plus, we've got that kind of long flowing hair that we'd expect to see from Wanda, and I cannot say for absolute certain it's definitely going to be Scarlet Witch, but I do feel very, very good about that prediction. Plus, of course, these are all characters which have been featuring in the Marvel movies lately, or at least, moderately recently, and it seems like it would be sensible to include them. So with two of the heroes done, and I feel very, very confident about those predictions, what do we think about September and October? Now, when looking at September, one of my first reactions was, crazy kung fu dude, it's Iron Fist. But there are several reasons why Iron Fist doesn't make sense. First of all, Iron Fist is part of the Defenders, and we should expect Iron Fist to be coming along as one of the Defenders. And we're not getting the other Defenders yet. Yeah, sure, we've seen Daredevil as an ally, but we've not actually seen the Defenders coming around. So I don't imagine that we would then get Iron Fist. It doesn't make much sense to me. Now, the other thing to bear in mind here, of course, is that when we were given the previous teaser image we were given was in the 4 reveal. And all of these ended up being alter ego silhouettes. They were not hero silhouettes, they were alter ego silhouettes. We had Natasha Romanoff, we had Stephen Strange as a doctor, and we had Bruce Banner. So it really does seem incredibly likely that they're actually doing silhouettes of the alter egos. And the alter ego wouldn't be pulling some giant kung fu pose. It looks like somebody relaxing on a couch with a TV remote in their left hand pointing at the screen. Now, this is kind of weird to me because Scarlet Witch is sitting in a chair and the chair is in the silhouette. The hero pack, which is coming in December, says October on the screen, is clearly sitting at a desk, and you can see the desk in the picture. Why is a couch not featured as a silhouette? Might be deliberately to throw us off. So if we assume somebody lounging on a couch, I'm going Ant-Man. Probably Scott Lang. And the only reason I think it's going to be Scott Lang is because, well, that's who we've had in the movies. I know Hank Pym was in the movies, but you know what I mean with this, right? It wasn't really Hank Pym's story. It was Scott Lang's story. Hank Pym was just kind of there. So I feel kind of good about this. Ant-Man is the kind of character, or Scott Lang, that you would imagine to be lounging around on a sofa. I'll be perfectly honest with you, I cannot say with absolute certainty that it is going to be Ant-Man. This is a little bit of a shot in the dark. If we look at the original Avengers, we've basically got Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, who we've already seen, and then we got Ant-Man and the Wasp, or Ant-Man / Giant Man, but again, Giant Man is featured in the movies, and I know this isn't a card game based on the movies, but clearly they want to get some cross-promotion going on there. So I would imagine we'd be looking at Scott Lang's Ant-Man. This is not my strongest prediction, if I'm honest with you here. I feel alright about it, and I want it to be Ant-Man, because come on, the mechanics they could do with that would be awesome. But that's my best guess. And if I'm going Ant-Man for September, I think we've got to go the Wasp for October. It rounds out the original Avengers, it makes a good pair with Ant-Man, it just makes perfect sense to me. Could be wrong, it's somebody sitting at a desk. Now, the fact that they've got quite a flat back, as we can see in the picture, does make me think that we are potentially going to see the Wasp here as well. Because in some of her iterations, she's got kind of the whole shoulder pads thing going on. Maybe. Again, I cannot feel 100% confident about this one. I just think it's going to be the case. Sorry. But that would make a nice little pair of pairs. Having Ant-Man and then the Wasp. And then having Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. That would be kind of cool. Now, that would leave Vision. That would leave us without Vision. And Vision would be the big omission. Really, we'd be at the stage then where about the only one of the main Avengers that we wouldn't have had would be Vision. And I do think we would need to address that sooner rather than later. And that would be weird to me because where do you fit it in? We know, well, we don't know, but we know that in March, the next expansion is going to be one of the big campaign boxes. And with the Avengers pretty much done, you would imagine they would move on to something else. Maybe they go for a Thanos box, and then they put Vision in there and they move on after that. But I would expect something like the X-Men or the Fantastic Four to be featured, rather than having another Avengers campaign box. Could be wrong, just a prediction. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my predictions. That's what I think is going to happen. I feel very, very good that we're getting Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. I feel good about Baron Zemo, and if it's not, it's going to be Kang the Conqueror. As for Ant-Man and the Wasp, maybe it's wishful thinking, but that's where I'm going. Plus, it totally fits the Avengers theme. Honestly, like I've said, the only 3 Avengers that we would expect to be getting and not actually confirmed, other than Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, are Ant-Man, the Wasp, and Vision. Maybe October could be Vision? We'll have to wait and see, I suppose. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know your predictions, so get them down in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, where we talk Marvel Champions and a whole bunch of other games. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all that good stuff. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.